We're getting in the first images of that bilateral meet, which is currently underway. Prime Minister Modi and the US President, in fact, very much present inside the White House, exchanging a firm handshake. The first image is out. You can see it's a tightly packed White House where you can see press from all across the globe. In fact, several of them are also from India, have in fact thronged that entire space as Prime Minister Modi and US President now in fact get ahead with that bilateral meet. We've earlier also seen how the entire delegation followed the Prime Minister as well. Let's quickly go across to Zaka. Zaka, this is in fact bilateral meet which is in restricted and delegation level format as well. But what do you make of the body language of that first image that's now come out?
Well, so this is the Oval Office. This is where American presidents meet with visiting heads of government, heads of state. I was in this same room, when in 2023, when President Biden had the state visit for Prime Minister Modi. And it's not really that big a room. I mean, you see this in like the West Wing, and you see it in traditional sort of TV series. It's not really a big room in terms of size, but it's very ostentatious. It's got the pictures of some of the most iconic presidents of the U.S. from Abraham Lincoln, George Washington. It's adorned all over the walls. So where they are sitting, the two sofas next to the fireplace, bang opposite that is where the Resolute desk is. That's where the President of the United States sits and takes the most important decisions that affect the world. So this is exactly on the opposite side of where that desk is. It's a small room. It's a circular room. It's called the Oval Office for a reason. And the press pool. And Trump has been having his sort of back and forth with the press pool. He in fact debarred an AP reporter from being part of the press pool. That's become a bit of a sort of talking point, a bit of a point of consternation between the White House press department and of course the press pool. So here what you have is very informal comments that both the President and the Prime Minister will make. You will get those comments in just a minute. These are usually just a few sentences. They kind of say, I'm happy to be here. I thank the President for inviting me. I look forward to the talks. We want to cover these range of issues and so on and so forth. So it's very much a set template. Sometimes, the U.S. press can get a bit exuberant. So they ask a question of the President. It depends. It can be completely unrelated to the visit. It can be completely unrelated to the head of state or head of government who is being felicitated in the White House, in the Oval Office at that particular point of time. It could be purely, something domestic that's in the news. But this time around, I suspect if at all questions are being asked now at the Oval Office before they move in for the one-on-one talks and then subsequently the delegation level talks, the questions might be around these tariffs and these reciprocal tariffs that President Trump has signed an executive order for about a couple of hours ago, maybe 3 hours ago. So maybe there will be questions on that, but in terms of specifics, how much Indian industry, steel industry, metals industry, assembling, pharmaceuticals, how much would they be impacted by those reciprocal tariffs? We still don't know. We are still waiting for the expert word on that. But I think one of the things that we are sort of getting an idea and getting a hang of, particularly when Parikshit was speaking to this White House official on background briefing, is that the White House expects India to buy more American defense equipment, buy more American oil, and this they view as a way to sort of balance out the trade. So if it's a trade deficit vis-a-vis the US, about $40 or $45 billion, they would expect India to announce, let's say, a $4 billion, $5 billion defense deal, procure more American oil. And the way Trump looks at it, it's very business-like. For President Trump, it's about, you're not ripping America off. The trade balance is much more even, and that ultimately it's cheaper for American consumers and for American businesses if they were to do business with Indian companies.
But Zaka, if you do look at the United States now asking for greater market access, so far we have in fact abstained from giving the US that access to, say, staples like rice, wheat, but can we give it to them in, say, areas like dairy, and if not dairy, even say apples, nuts, cashews, walnuts? What are going to be those key agricultural areas?
So look, I mean, there's a lot of talk about lowering the duties on pecan nuts and California almonds and, apples and stuff like that. Well, the reason why countries have tariffs, particularly in the farming sector, in agricultural sector, is to protect domestic constituencies. I mean, even the United States, the richest country in the world, has subsidies when it comes to farm produce. And the reason they do that is because farmers are an important vote bank. Certainly here in India, they're a huge vote bank. So which is why no political party, even if you have a center-right conservative party like the BJP, they are very much pro farm loan waiver, very pro free electricity for the farmers, free water pumps for the farmers. That's not what you would normally associate with a center-right party. But because the farmers are such a powerful vote bank, a powerful constituency, no government wants to be seen as alienating them. So I don't see it as an easy give from India as far as lowering tariffs on agricultural produce is concerned. But there could be individual items, like I said, pecan nuts and California almonds.
Right.
There's a lot of chatter around bourbon whiskey becoming cheaper and so on. So those might sort of be a bit of a tinkering, but ultimately, look, I'm firmly of the belief that this whole mismatch between what Trump wants and what India can offer can only be addressed if both countries agree to some kind of a limited trade deal.